Hi, this is Erin Harrison coming to you from the Los Angeles Convention Center at IT Expo West 2010, our 22nd IT Expo. I'm joined today by Alan Percy, Director of Market Development at AudioCodes. Welcome, Alan.
All right, thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. So when we last saw you in Miami, you guys made a bunch of announcements, and what have you been up to in that time?
Right, well, actually some really exciting developments. This last show, we're introducing a couple things. First of all, first is our Enterprise Session Border Controller product line. We recently launched that. And we're also announcing some Microsoft products too.
Okay. Tell us about the Enterprise Session Border Controller and how that's helping your customers.
Sure. Well, the Enterprise Session Border Controller is a new set of functionality that goes along with our media gateways and with our multi-service business gateways that allows businesses to connect their SIP-based infrastructure, their IP-PBX or IP contact center, allows them to then use that with SIP trunking services or other UC or SIP-based services that are outside their business. The Enterprise Session Border Controller provides a couple key things that businesses need to effectively deploy those services. The first is interoperability.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they want to be able to be compatible with a number of different service providers or SIP trunking providers, so they want to have choice. So the interoperability gives them that ability to make some choices. Also, too, with their applications, gives them a chance to use many different applications. That resolves, issues with interoperability in SIP, codec changes, fax, other features like that. The second big thing an Enterprise Session Border Controller does is also provide security, and what that does then is it protects the business against potential attack that might come from the internet or from out inside the wide area network to protect the business. And then the third and final thing that the ESBC product brings to the table is survivability. And that's the union between the ESBC and the media gateway allows a business to use both TDM and SIP trunking at the same time, mm-hmm. in a mechanism that if the wide area network or the SIP trunking service provider were to go out of service for some reason, allows them to move their traffic then back over to TDM infrastructure. And it's a great way for businesses to be able to make that migration to SIP services without the risky sort of cut that would happen, with a total cutover.
Okay, and I know AudioCodes recently published a case study
Right.
in that regard, in that vein, Enterprise Session Border Controller. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. Yeah, well, it's a case study that we did with ROI Networks, one of our resellers, a great reseller partner of ours. And it actually leveraged Skype as the service provider, which we're pretty excited about. Mm-hmm. And what that does is in that particular case study, it brought Skype services to a semiconductor manufacturer, which dramatically reduced their cost of telephone calls. Not so much for in and out of the business like you would traditionally think with SIP trunking, but it was more about the employees of the semiconductor manufacturer being able to use Skype to then connect into conference calls and around inside the business, avoiding expensive international cell phone calls. So really neat case study, and the Enterprise Session Border Controller did the things we mentioned earlier, the interoperability and the security.
Yeah, from what I hear, they're thrilled with the results.
Yeah, they were very happy. We're glad it worked out really well.
That's great. And tell us, while you're here at IT Expo this year, what are you hoping to accomplish?
Well, the other thing we're launching this week too is also our Microsoft Link products. Microsoft now, with its now third iteration of unified communication platform called Microsoft Link. Mm-hmm. A couple of important products. One is, of course, our gateways and our hybrid gateways, enhanced gateways. But the big new thing is what's called an SBA, or Survivable Branch Appliance. And that SBA allows distributed enterprises to have a small version of the Microsoft platform in the branch office to allow them to continue to offer those UC services, obviously the voice, chat, presence, instant messaging, conferencing, those kinds of features out at the branch, sort of offloading some of the traffic from the core, and also to giving them some survivability. So real excited about that platform. We think it'll make a big difference in the competitive environment for Microsoft.
Okay, great. We've been speaking with Alan Percy, Director of Market Development at AudioCodes. Alan, we're always happy to have AudioCodes here. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, great. Thanks for having me.